Hello everybody, welcome back to the Commonwealth Cabin. Welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. You know, Dave, my buddy Dave from the Trash to Cash podcast, ADH Dave picks, ADH Dave flips. He kind of has the market cornered on fails. But I don't often go over some of these, but I've had enough fails this month that I figured, you know what, I should probably put these on here because I don't always want to show the good things, and there are a lot of mistakes that cost resellers money. I've been doing it for 22 years. I still make the same stupid mistakes, and I've done it again. I'm going to go over sourcing mistakes. I'm going to go over shipping mistakes. I'm going to go over some listing mistakes, and since I'm bearing all here, I'd love for some of you experienced resellers, new resellers, to put your mistakes down below as well, but we do have some good sales. Let's take a look. I'm just gonna weave in these mistakes. I've got a list over here in between the sales today. And looking at the sales today, this is my best sale of the day right off the bat, and it's not, well, it's pretty good. I'll take it. I didn't pay much for these jerseys at all. Got the second batch listed. VPI is Virginia Polytechnic Institute, so that's also known as Virginia Tech. And these are actual game or practice jerseys. You can see the size on them are all huge because these were actual jerseys that were used either in practice or a game along, I don't know, probably 20 years ago or so is my guess. Bought them from a sale and just got a crazy good deal. I didn't even know what was in there. I just knew what was on top and I'm like, I'll buy them all. And it turned out to be amazing, way better than I thought. And this one sold, it went out on an all for $62.10 plus shipping. I'm probably not into this for more than $3 max. So I said I was gonna weave these in here. So this is a sourcing success right here. Obviously, we bought a box full of this stuff. Gonna make just a ton of money, maybe $1,000 off of that one buy. And those are things that everybody likes to focus on, but I figured we'd focus on some fails in the sourcing side first, 2, maybe 3 sourcing fails, and then get into shipping and listing fails and see if you guys have ever done anything similar. So one thing when I started doing YouTube videos, I realized that I had no idea I was doing beforehand because I just didn't remember, is I'll leave things behind at a sale, like things I've already bought. I've seen it now 3 times in YouTube videos that I've been making just the last 3-4 years. And I did it again. I did it when I was out there with Dave. I did it at the 100 Mile Yard Sale with all the folks we went to. No, it was the 301, the Endless Yard Sale in North Carolina. And Dave's like, I remember you buying a camera. I didn't see it in our lot. Did you steal it from me or something? And because we were divvying up everything. And I'm like, no, I don't even remember buying the camera. He sends me a screenshot. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I did buy that thing. Where the heck is it? I'll check my bags. He's like, don't worry, I found it. I'm like, okay, no problem. And then he sends me another screenshot of me walking away from it at the next sale. So I bought it at a table, walked down, set it down to pick up Tupperware of all things, and left a $60 camera there that I paid $5 for. Has anybody ever done that before? Sold some Teddy Ruxpin books. They're not easy sellers unless you have the cassettes or the bear, you know. Sometimes it's nice to put them all together, but I couldn't resist them at a sale. I think they're like $1/4 a piece or something. And I'm like, yeah, I'll buy them. And then wait for a bear to come around and pair them up or cassettes or something. And they just never, ever sold. They finally sold $10.81 plus shipping. And the buyer left me a message, not a viewer. And I just love these messages here. You saw the books, right? So please pack them well. Thank you. It's not gonna be that hard. The next one I should use, well, I probably will, even though I've already talked about this one as a listing mistake, but it's no longer a listing mistake and we still got a sale. And I think I'll talk about that in a minute, but I wanna talk about another sourcing mistake that viewers constantly tell me about. I'm gonna make sure it's right. This is a large, women's large. $22 plus shipping for these genuine Harley women's motorcycle gloves, fingerless motorcycle gloves, $22 plus shipping. And let's talk about that other sourcing mistake. This next sourcing mistake actually happened, well, this type of thing happens often, and I think it's kind of funny because I love these mistakes in some senses because I regret them because it's things that I missed that viewers point out, but I love them because I immediately go look them up and then I put them in my brain here. As soon as I have a visual image of something, I tend not to miss it in the future. But this one was, I had it in my hands. I had this little plush doll in my hands, and you know, sometimes when I come across something that looks cool, I'll pick it up and then I'll comp it out. But this lady was following me around, and I had a pile of good stuff over there, and I didn't want to pull out my phone and start comping it and jeopardize this deal over here. I should have just bought it, probably, because it would have been $1, you know. And when I'm watching the video, somebody sends in a comment, hey, you really missed this. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about. And I had to look it up. And as soon as I looked it up, I realized, oh my gosh, I did have that in my hand. I'm going to show it to you really quick. I'm going to show it to you on my phone and hope Dave and Carrie aren't sending. They've been sending text messages the last 5 minutes that are, you know, Dave and Carrie type messages. So Commonwealth Molly and the big comfy couch Molly doll. Had it in my hands. This one here sold for $89 plus shipping. I don't know if you can see that or not. Hopefully it's focused enough. Maybe I can get it a little better. I guess I could just put it on my screen. But it's a Commonwealth doll, and I've talked about this before. I looked at the tag. I didn't see anything on the tag. I think it was faded. But there are all kinds of those fails. I was at a sale, the same video, I was at a sale with Tim over the years, who's on Reseller Information Network. And we were all at this sale, and all of us looked at all this stuff and walked away. And then 5 minutes down the road, he's like, man, I'm like, he showed these Fostoria glasses that are worth like $400. And I'm like, where'd you find that? He's like, at that sale y'all were at. I'm like, golly, which I'm super happy for Tim. That's awesome. And I would have missed those 99 times out of 100 unless I was super bored and wanted to start doing Google searches or something. But I think a lot of folks out there, if you guys made videos too, you'd be like, how did I miss that? Even things you know that you missed that you just didn't see. Have a bunch of listing mistakes that end up costing you a little bit of money, or if nothing else, they cost you time. I've already talked about those gloves, but I'll just say it one more time in case you didn't see that video. This one was an easy one to find because it's the only one out of the Family Guy stuff that's in this box here. It's a Toy Fair exclusive. Chris Mezco, and that one sold for $25 plus shipping, so that's not a bad one. We are inching closer. Probably 3 or 4 more sales we'll have our money back on. As I turned my camera off, I looked at his t-shirt. Is that Che Guevara, like as an insect or something? What in the world? Anyway, that's a nice sale. Grab those with Rod, Picking and Punching, and Mike Death Pile Picker. So the mistake that we made, and I say we made because this is one that I didn't list, but I should have kind of been more aware of it. A lot of times they'll put things in drafts, and my wife will or whatever if she can't figure something out, and Bubba's girlfriend when she lists something from time to time. But this one, I just glanced right over it, didn't even think about it. So it is a size large. We listed these as men's gloves, and they're not men's gloves, and they started to sell because men's gloves are a little bit pricier. And I grabbed it, and I'm like, that is definitely not a man's hand right there as a large. I couldn't fit in it, and I don't have that big a hand. And so it didn't really cost us money. It just cost us a little bit of time to adjust the listing and to cancel that order. But they're still selling $22 plus shipping. Had another listing mistake that I'm going to talk about in just a second. It was on the last episode, and when I went to ship it, I'm like, uh-oh, this can be trouble. I tilted this one out earlier because I knew I'd have to get it, and it's hard with one hand. This is one of the last Bibles from that free book buy from over a year ago. And I thought it would be okay. You know, if you find the leather-bound ones, this is a Cokesbury, and it's red letter. I'm like, okay, it'll sell. And it did. Just took a long time. But it does have a couple issues. You see the slight creasing in there. And it's not huge. It's not large print or anything. So it took a little while to sell. But we put it on clearance, sold for $9 plus shipping. Sometimes you think you have a good Bible and it's bad. And sometimes you think you have a bad Bible and it's really good, but you get used to it if you're picking them out there. By the way, this was free books, not just free Bibles. Guy was giving away all these books. He's tired of hauling them around to all these sales, so we really made out that day. Sold some. One of the Bibles from there sold, I think, last week for like $70, $65, something like that. So here's the issue that I had on the last episode. Okay, Dooney and Burke bag. You might remember from the last episode, it was on the Commonwealth Picker channel, where the lady had a pill in it and she came chasing me down. And I sold it for $75 plus shipping, took an offer on it. And then I looked at the listing, not just the title, but I looked in the listing. It was listed as new without tags. and it had tags and it wasn't new. I'm like, oh boy. So I sent a message. I'm like, hey, I'll cancel your order, or you can get a discount or whatever. I can't remember exactly what I said. And then the person responded back, and it was a viewer. I'm like, oh, sweet. Because, you know, I'll make something up to you somehow, some way. And they're like, no, we knew it was pre-owned. Because there was pictures of it. And the pictures tell the story, and they actually looked at them. So I wish I had your name right here. I'm sorry I don't. But that was very kind of you. And we really do appreciate that. So I got bailed out twice this week from a viewer. And I know that doesn't happen a lot, but those salt and pepper shakers, the unicorn salt and pepper shakers, that was a cross-listing error where we sold it on it wasn't really an error, I suppose. We sold it on 2 different platforms, and it was a viewer, and they're like, oh, we'd rather have this item anyways. I'm like, okay, really cool. So that was Courtney, so thank you. But, you know, a lot of times those mistakes will cost you at least time and maybe a ding on your account if you have too many of them. In this case, we really lucked out. This one wouldn't have cost anything really, because you're just going to relist it. It's going to sell for roughly that price anyways, because we listed it with pre-owned in mind as far as the price, even though we put new with tags or new without tags on it. I have 2 more mistakes that could have been costly. One of them was really costly. It was a bonanza sale. They turned out not to be costly because of the kindness and honesty of the people who bought them. Had to dig through and find that hat right there. This doesn't look like an amazing hat, and it's really not an amazing hat, but it is a K Products hat, but it is a modern one. See, made in China, and it's got little hook and loop, little Velcro on it. And a viewer bought that one. I'm going to tell you about those 2. Well, I'll tell you about one now. So this one is a mistake that Reagan made. Nothing like throwing your baby girl under the bus, right? She accidentally shipped 2 orders. This is from the merch store. Of not these bags, this is a while ago, a couple months ago, with the other bags, the Commonwealth picker bags. Sent 2 orders to Abby, and Abby was kind enough to send them back. She says, I know how much everybody loves these bags. Yes, by the way, those bags are coming back, and there are still like 60 left of the trash to cash bags. No offense to Dave and Carrie, but if these were Commonwealth picker bags, they would have been gone like that, you know. I'm just teasing. Any rate, Blue Ridge Mama, Reagan Turner, blah, blah. She's very complimentary in here, and she sent this back. And I would have never, ever known that we sent 2 of them if it wasn't for her. But I have another one that was, whew, I mean, I regretted this one, and I could not believe it got sent back. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And this was also months and months ago, but I was just writing some things down to chat about here. So keep up the good work. Can't take offense to miserable internet people, otherwise you'll be perpetually offended. Look, hey, it's that video we did last week with, you know, don't watch this YouTuber anymore. And by the way, if you watched that, you didn't understand the sarcasm, and there were plenty of people who didn't. I think I had like 8 people unsubscribe from me because I was talking about other YouTubers. I was talking about myself, and I just simply had wrote down things that I saw or read, whether it was on Reddit or whether it was on a comment of somebody else's video or somebody's live show. Look, I honestly, y'all, I'm very, very happy with the way I resell, how I do things. It isn't for everybody, and I try not to give advice. I just try to show you what I'm doing out there and share it because you guys love reselling too. So I'm not offended. I really, truly, I mean, sometimes some things offend me, but usually not this kind of stuff. Learned so much from you as I've started my reselling adventure. Dave, not so much. Yo, Dave gets a bad rap. He's a good picker and a great guy, but he's always good for a laugh. No doubt about that. That hat sold for $9.99 plus shipping. Thank you, Tom. This sale makes me incredibly happy because it is the last of the salt and pepper shakers from the 127 2 years ago. A lot of them sold pretty quick. They don't sell for a bunch. These were pretty plain Jane. I think they're pairs. I think that's what they are. Is that what y'all think they are? And I probably shouldn't have bought them. The anthropomorphic ones definitely sell better. This is just pretty plain Jane, but they are made in Japan, and they did have the corks on the bottom of them, and that's a big thing if you're buying those. But they don't sell for much, $10 plus shipping. And I wanted to show you this other one here. So Dungeons and Dragons, you might remember me picking this up last year. I picked up a bunch of them for 15 bucks. Well, they all have different colors and whatever. Well, I had 2 things that were blue. One was a book and one was a box. And I was going super fast, and it was a bonanza sale, and I shipped out the box. I'm trying to remember if I get my story straight, but either way, I had a $25 sale that I was supposed to ship off, and I ended up shipping off like a $115 box set. Whew. And I sent them, actually, I didn't even send a message. I just wrote it off. I'm like, they're never going to send this thing back. And they contacted me through Bonanza. It's a selling platform that you don't really sell much on, but good for 1 or 2 sales. I haven't even checked it today. I haven't checked Posh or Mercari either. I probably should check that really quick, see if our cross listing's paying off. So I sold this thing. They contacted me and they sent it back to me. And I immediately shipped the other one off. Immediately. Whether or not that they were going to ship it back to me or not, I was going to send that off because they had contacted me. And I wanted it to show up there so they felt like maybe they could send it back. And sure enough, they sent that thing back. And I was breathing a sigh of relief because that was a big sale. Would have cost me over $100 there. By the way, that reminds me, and I used to talk about this with my AP World students when we dissect primary documents, and I'd be like, you know, what kind of defense does this person give for their argument? And we as humans kind of do a lot of self-talk, and you can detect it a little bit. And so to justify things in our head, I'm looking for a size small. Hey, I got one, $22 plus shipping for this set of gloves. And that's one way you can justify it. Like, hey, I was going to make $400 off of that. I'm going to make $300 now. And it's like, it's okay, right? Like that camera that I left behind. You know, how do you look at it? Do you look at it like I paid $5 for it and left it there, I lost $5? Or I didn't buy that plush, which didn't cost me anything, but in reality, there's an opportunity cost with both of these. Both of those sales after fees, after shipping, if I would have paid $6, that means I left $130 on the table. But in reality, it only cost me $5 because I bought the camera and left it there. Sold an NWO decal, and they usually sell for 10, 11 bucks, but this one sold just under 8 because it was on a 30% off offer, which I try to keep these off of that, but sometimes I forget when I put those, because it's been in the store a long time, and so anything that's been in the store over a year sometimes goes on that sale. And that's what happened here. I forgot to take it off. But you know what? We're still making a little bit of money on it. Had a viewer send me something. I think it was a viewer the other day. Maybe it wasn't. They sent me a thing on a Sony Walkman sealed. And it was just the radio type, not the one with a cassette. So it's not worth a ton. I think it's listed for 20 bucks plus shipping. It is kind of cool though. I thought about keeping it for myself. Using it in my 80s room over there. Which hasn't begun in construction. But we're going to start. And they said, hey, you have this thing listed as black. It's clearly white. And it's not a big mistake. It's not going to cost me anything. I can't even fix it because there was an offer out on it, but I'll fix it soon. But some people try to take advantage of those listing mistakes, so you got to be careful. They'll buy them on purpose. They'll get it, and it's actually what they want, but then they'll send a message, hey, you had this listed as this. You know, I'll keep it, but give me a partial refund. And hopefully I'll get that fixed before that happens, though. I don't want you to think all these mistakes are something that just happened. This is over time. However, I did have another mistake that did just happen. That's why I did this video, because I made like 3 or 4 mistakes in the last couple of weeks. I've got it going here. Look at this. It's going to be easy to find for a change. These ET earrings. Me and Turner, by the way, have been having a blast watching old movies lately. We're in the middle of the Indiana Jones stuff. And he's like, I can't believe this is PG because of all the death and dying and explosions and melting faces and all that. But he's had a good time with it. Let's see if I can get this out of here. Every time we sell one of these, we give a shout out to Ivan because he is the source behind all these. And so thank you, Ivan, for that. It's been a long time at this point we've been selling them. Man, I can't get them out. This is a thrilling YouTube video right here. Struggling to get those out. Look at that. Down like that. These are selling for $7 plus shipping for these right here. Vintage ET stuff. We've got tons and tons and tons of it. Before I forget this one, this is a Bulwarker. You probably remember me selling it a couple weeks ago. And this is the one that sold. But clearly it's still here. It's because I had another Bulwarker. Same thing. It's just a different color. It was green on the end instead of whatever color that is, purple or whatever. And I shipped the wrong one. And I just waited around for a return or something. And they got the item weeks ago at this point. 10 days, I don't know how long ago. Never said a word about it. I'm like, well, I guess they don't care. So we just had to switch that one on the back end. and see what happens. So they probably didn't care about the color of it. They just wanted a good deal. Sold an Enaman to Gina. Gina, thank you so much. We are getting down. I'm starting to think, as we get closer to the end of these, how I'm going to do this, because we do have those 3 like crates with some of them in it, and I might just slow down how we sell those off. 2 of the crates probably I will never sell off, or at least 1. But there is one in the eBay cave in there, which we're going to redo. I thought maybe we could take those 20 or so and just do like 1 a month, just so we keep it up, the lore of the Enaman. Tell me in the comments below when you got your Enaman, if you have one. And maybe you don't. Maybe you don't want to pay this much, but you bought an Enaman. And this one right there is going to, what did I say your name was? Gina. Gina, thank you so much, and thank you for the kind words. We hope he gets things moving for you. When we did those Whatnot auctions last month, we had 2 mistakes. One was something that we didn't calculate out, these bracelets that people were buying for Isaiah 117. We miscounted and we sold more than we had, and I finally did send those out to you, by the way. There's 3 I think we were shorted, and we didn't put an Enaman in one of the orders, and that was Melissa. And so Melissa, that's headed your way as well. It took a long time to fix that one because I didn't know about the mistake. So at any rate, there's a bunch of mistakes. When you're selling thousands and thousands of things a year, you kind of have to calculate that into everything. There are going to be returns. There are going to be mistakes. Again, tell me in the comments below a mistake you've made. I'm going to talk about a few more that I've made many times. All right, y'all, no Turner today, no Commonwealth comedy, but we have Reagan here. And Reagan's got a few people to thank.
Yep. We got Jennifer, Jamie, Philip, Cheryl, and Lisa. And Philip got a yellow We Get Things Moving shirt, and all the other people got trashed cash bags.
That's right. All of them got trashed cash bags. And we've sold a pretty good amount of them. And Reagan shipped a bunch off yesterday. And I think you and Bubba's girlfriend are going to ship a few off tomorrow as well. And those yellow shirts, we haven't had a sale like that in a while. That's all we have right here and here. And I think they're on sale. I think Reagan put them on sale. So anyway, thank you to everybody out there. We do appreciate you. I think somebody left a message, but I can't remember who it was. So my apologies to all of you out there.
Bye, and don't forget to get your sticker at CommonwealthPicker.com.
Sold a Rudolph plush, Jimmy, to a viewer, Jill. Jill, thank you. And it was $8.37 plus shipping. Recently started watching your channels. I love your messages that you include, and your family, including the 4-legged ones, always make me smile. God bless. Jill. Jill, thank you. And that reminded me, when I talked about Bonanza, I've got it up on the screen here. I made a mistake on, oh no, that was a Poshmark sale. And this is going to cost me a little bit of money. There were 5 Tupperware cups that I sent off for $10 plus shipping. And I actually sent 4. So now I got to ship the other one. It's going to cost $3.50. It's like, oh gosh. And, you know, this stuff does happen. It just seems like lately, because I've been so busy, I've been making more of these mistakes. One of them I don't do anymore. And to me, it's the worst mistake you can make. I don't do it because my wife helps me ship most of the time now. And we do bulk shipping. And when you do bulk shipping, if I'm doing bulk shipping by myself, I'll screw this up from time to time. And I'll take one label and put it on one package, and the other package gets the different label, and both of them end up being wrong, and then you got a double whammy problem. If she's in here with me, she's looking at the top screen, I'm looking at the bottom screen, and we don't mess it up. But when I'm by myself, I don't do bulk shipping. I do it one at a time, so I don't make that mistake. Wanted to show you how I made that Tupperware mistake. See that cup right there? So all those cups were down upside down right there, and I grabbed them and pulled them out, and they all came out. See, look at that. I didn't want to come out then. But that one, because the bottom was stuck on something. That's how I made that mistake, and I didn't bother counting them at all. Sold this right here as well. Callaway club head cover. It's not a big money maker. $6.30 plus shipping. Sold a paperweight. Bought these at Joyce Junk, which that sale is going to be coming up fairly quickly. This has got a few smudges on it. Needs clean, but I don't know if you can even see it. Probably not, but it's got a Chinese ship. Probably one of the larger junks. That's kind of funny. Bought it at Joyce Junk, and it's a junk right there. And that's what you call Chinese. Some Chinese sailing vessels. And they had treasure ships. That might be like a Zheng He treasure ship. At any rate, Not that you care, it's just my old history teacher coming out of me. Gerald Lynn bought it. It says repeat buyer, so I'm thinking maybe you're a viewer. And that sold for, it's got a little chip, tiny little chip right there. Hopefully we have that in the listing. If we don't, let me know. We'll get you some money back. Let's see, $9 plus shipping. Went in to get a t-shirt, and my favorite cat followed me in. No Name. How many of y'all go back long enough to remember No Name Under the Shed? That Harley tee right there. Got new tags. They got a crazy good deal on all this stuff. That was a great Harley buy. $16.80 plus shipping. For those of you that aren't in the loop and you wonder why this cat's name is No Name, it's because my wife and my daughter especially have this affinity for animals. And so strays and all that show up in the woods back there or out in front of the house in bushes or down the road by the creek somehow manage to make it back to my house. And they just stay here. Just don't know how that happens. Well, this one showed up underneath the shed. And I'm like, nope, we're not naming it. We're not naming it. So we called it No Name. And then it became my favorite cat, so I kept it. Huh. He used to live out in that chicken coop, too, for a while. We'd throw out stuff for the chickens, and No Name would come and eat it. He used to eat cabbage. He was skinny as all get out. Now he's fat. But he's an awesome cat. I like you. Sometimes it's just too much. It's overload. I got a message. Remember when I sold that Pepsi trash can last episode? There was a message on the messaging system, which for me gets just, there's just tons and tons and tons of messages. And so sometimes I don't see them till later because they're asking me, you know, social media type stuff. And I was telling my wife, I'm like, we're going to lose money on shipping on this thing because where it's going, I'm like, ah. And I saw after we shipped it, of course, they said, hey, you know, if you could ship it to this other address. And it would have been way cheaper if I would have saw that message in advance. And of course I didn't. So, you know, that kind of stuff happens. And then we put the listing. If you remember the Cap shoes, we had a bunch of the same type of shoes, but different sizes. So we just used the same picture for all the listings, but then changed the listing, changed the picture for the size in each listing. And one of them we forgot. We shipped out a 7 when it was supposed to be a 10. That kind of stuff happens as well. All right, y'all. I had to dig these out. My wife told me that, how you doing? My wife told me I forgot something. What do you know? 2 Tupperware cake, what do you call them? Handles, baby? Yeah. And they sold for $17. I'll take that for sure. Hey, y'all, Bubba's in here. What are you doing in here? Oh, listing or shipping? Both. Oh, cool. Hey, are those books? Did you pack them really well? Did you?
I know you're not filming this.
Yeah, I am, actually. She was complaining about that person who said pack them well. So she put them in a big old box and bubble wrapped them. Terrible.
You're awful.
Well, stop. I'm trying to open a gift here. All right,
I
here we
you're
go.
really doing it for real.
Sugar Creek Pickers. Send me an ashtray. What do you think?
Nice.
Yeah. Let me tear that open for me a little bit. Because we're studying the American Revolution.
Aw.
There you go.
Well, that's super nice.
Turner's not even here today. I'd show it to
Well,
him.
when he smokes on his smoke break, I'll let him use it.
Anyway, you guys are awesome. Thank you.
That's awful.
Very, very much.
Awful? What am I saying? I'm so tired. I was going to say awfully cool, but that's how it came out. It's not awful.
That's awesome. Every once in a while, you make a mistake and the post office pays you back. Which apparently we did the other day, although sometimes I doubt this stuff because we go through it with a fine-tooth comb. I don't understand. I have rarely been upcharged by the post office. I usually get money back from the post office on a shipping mistake, and that happened again this week. I shipped out that Phillies Troll Doll last week, or 10 days ago or so, and they sent me a refund. They said you shipped it out at the 14-ounce rate, and it was not, or 12-ounce rate, and it was 9 ounces, so it went out at the 12-ounce rate, and they sent me $1.34 in return. So I'll definitely take that. Let me know your mistakes in the comments below. Maybe we can all learn a little something. We appreciate you stopping by, and I can't wait to see you next time. Y'all know, turn.
I didn't even know you were filming.